Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex here. Today we are here with the 5th round of the Go-Kart Championship in 2015. 7 people racing today with 3 camera views. Top left is James, top right is Tim, and the bottom middle is my camera view. This is qualifying that you're going to be watching for the next 5 or so minutes, and whilst we're doing that I'm going to quickly run through all the helmets and overalls so you understand who is who. I'll try and remember to put it in the description as well. So basically, blue overalls and white and black helmet is Will's dad. Will has got the blue overalls and the white helmet. James has got the grey helmet and the yellow and black overalls. I've got the blue helmet and blue overalls. Tim, I think, has got dark blue overalls and the white and green helmet. Then Harry's got the white and red helmet, and then Harry's dad's got the red helmet. I'll try and put that all in the description down below with any extra information just so you know who is who. But yeah, so top left James, top right Tim, and the bottom middle is my camera view as well. So you can see here Will has got in front of his dad here. This is only qualifying, but obviously you want to get a bit of clean air. So my aim was just try and get past Will's dad here, but look at that straight line speed, so slow in a straight line. So up to the top hairpin I was more like defending from James, but there's a bit of an accident. Will's dad went to the inside of Will, but it looks like he braked a bit too late, and or the brakes weren't working or something, and he braked way too late and spun around. It looks like Tim was reacting to that and spun as well. So looks like Tim's last place of the people on the track at the moment, and Will's got a bit of a lead, and James is just behind me as well. So I was sort of expecting Will to be faster than me. He's always been pretty much, you know, like 2 or 3 tenths of a second faster than me every time we go karting. So, you know, it's nice to try and beat him sometimes, but most of the time he does beat me, and, you know, you've got to accept that he's faster. And he has won actually go-kart championships in the past, like proper go-kart championships with lots of people in it. So yeah, we all know he's very good, and obviously I'm trying my best. Obviously I won this championship last year, but obviously I would say it's not as competitive as probably proper karting, but this is more of a fun championship, and that's what I hope people get out of it, a bit of fun, not just serious racing. But anyway, you can see Tim's sort of caught up to the back of Harry's dad now, who this is only his second time go-karting, Harry's dad, so he's really getting used to it, but he's actually done quite well. If you look to the last round, he put in some really good races, and he was very good at defending. I'm not gonna lie there, he was very good at defending. I think I managed to get past him in the first couple of corners in that second race last time out, but he was very good at defending from other people in that second race, and we'll see that similar sort of tactic here today. But anyway, you can see on my screen I've lost a bit of time to Will, and James has lost a bit of time to me, so at this sort of moment in time, decent enough gap to get some good lap times in here. I mean, I really wanted to sort of keep Will just in front of me there, so I could sort of have that as motivation to keep going faster and faster, because when you have someone in front of you, whether it's just psychological or whatever, but you go faster because you're trying to catch them down. And you can see Tim's trying to get past Harry's dad here, but goes quite sideways, but doesn't manage to get quite past him there. But it's actually not too good for Tim, because he's got to get past him, otherwise he's not going to get a good time in qualifying, because obviously it's such a short qualifying now. 5 minutes, you get maybe 9 or 10 laps in, so you've got to get past if you're behind someone quickly. But Tim's made the move now, he's down the inside of Harry's dad. It looks like at least they're running side by side. He should get past him here, he's got the inside line. He cuts back to the racing line, and Tim has got past Harry's dad here, but goes a bit defensive, so because he doesn't want Harry's dad going down the inside. And no, he does get around the corner without Harry's dad going down the inside, so that's good for him. Now I've lost a little time to Will, and James lost a bit more time to me. So through this whole qualifying session, I was like, where is actually James? I didn't actually know where he was. I knew he got a decent start and he got past me, but I managed to go back to the inside and get past him at turn 1. So I knew that I could, you know, I knew he had fast because he had an electrifying start. He was really good off the start line, but I'm not too sure how his race pace was. So at this point I was like, where is he? I don't know. But at this point I'm like, we've got about a minute or so left to qualifying. Got to make sure every lap is perfect from now on, otherwise probably won't get any chance of a front row. And I sort of knew that if I started on the first place position that I wouldn't get a good start, because basically you start on the pole position, which is sort of the lowest point. If you start in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all the way back down the order to like 7th and 8th places, you're sort of up a bit higher, so you get the momentum down the hill a little bit then as you go back up the hill. But if you start on pole position, you have to go up a hill straight away. You'll see a second here, but look, sort of goes downhill just a bit here, and then it goes up a hill a little bit here. So basically you've got to make sure that you have a good start, or maybe the better thing is to not start on pole position and start a bit further down the order there. You can see I slightly hit the tyres there. I checked behind me, I couldn't actually see where James was there, but he has actually caught up to me quite a bit here. I made that mistake hitting the tyres, and he's closed up, I'd say, a good 2 or 3 seconds over the last couple of laps here, so he's been very fast, and I think this is the last lap now we're going on this first part of this race here today, or the first part of the sort of session here today, because obviously we've got qualifying and then 2 races, but I was trying my best. It's like last lap, got to try and make sure this one's perfect. But James, you've seen, he's caught up to me so much, and I didn't realise this obviously when I was going around because I wasn't really looking behind a huge amount, but he closed up so much on these last couple of laps here. Is the checker flag out? I'd assume it is. Yeah, there's the checker flag across the line, and James goes across the line. So Tim's already finished, and yeah, that is that. Qualifying, let's see what the results were like. Well, Will got pole position, so that's 5 points for him. Then James, then me, then Will's dad, Tim, Harry, and then Harry's dad qualifies in 7th place. So I start in the 3rd place here, so in a way that could be good for me because it means I've got a bit of a run down to the first corner and I start not at the bottom of the hill. So anyway, the lights going on, and then the lights are out and away we go. James gets an immaculate start. That's one of the best starts I think I've ever seen someone get down to turn 1. You can see Will's dad also gets a good start here. Will and his dad running side by side to turn 1. Is Will going to back out? He has to, because Will's dad goes to the inside and manages to keep the position there. So interesting start there. James into the lead of this race here. Now can he pull away, because we all know James has got great straight line speed just because he's so light. So at this point I was like, if Will's dad holds up Will, then possibly James can get a massive lead here. But then I was like, oh great, because Will got past, and then I was sort of stuck up behind Will's dad. And I know I'm slow in a straight line, so basically I've got to really risk it on the brakes. And I was like, brake extremely late here, but still Will's dad very good on the brakes as well, so it's really tough. I'm faster through this sort of twisty part of the track, but then down the sort of straight I'm like nowhere, so it's really tough to find a good place to overtake. And I found this corner here was the best place to overtake, so I go in a bit slower but get more of my speed out the corner, and can see Will's dad squeezes me up on the curb there. Not too impressed about that. And you can see Tim has lost a bit of time. He was saying to me that his kart wasn't too great, and he also said he wasn't driving to his best, so unfortunately for Tim, it doesn't look like he's got the best of combinations here today. And obviously Tim has won the last 4 races he's done, so we all know he's going to be very fast, but doesn't look like this is his day today. Qualified 5th, and he's lost a bit of a gap now to me. I'm sort of lost a bit of a gap now to Will's dad and Will, but James has got a really good start here, hasn't he? Good first couple of laps. He's motored off into the distance here, and it looks like he's got a good chance of maybe taking this win as long as he withstands the pressure, because Will catch up. We all know that if you watched this championship over the last year or so, Will is incredibly fast, and even if he hasn't got the best kart, he can still pull back a big advantage. So Will's pulled away now from his dad, and I'm trying to catch up to Will's dad. Oh, well, look down the inside here, I've got the move. I've got a really good run through there now. I was just quickly checking where everyone was behind me there, as I thought it was a good time to, as I run side by side with Will's dad, but I managed to get the position now. But Will's dad looking back to the inside here, and I go sort of straight down the straight and then brake into the braking zone and managed to get through that all good and go up into 3rd place and keep it now, which is good. Obviously I knew down the straight I had to go quite defensive. I wasn't too sure where Will's dad actually was, so I was sort of going half defensive, half to the normal racing line in case he like had made a mistake or whatever. But it's going to be a tough task for me to now try and catch down Will and James, obviously. But Will has actually caught up James quite a bit here over this last lap or so. He's really closed that up. You can see here James checking behind him, wondering where Will is. I think James might have to start going a bit defensive at the bottom of the straight now, because Will is right up behind him now, and this could be a good opportunity for Will to take his first win of the season. Obviously Will, James and Will's dad, none of them have raced at all this year, so this would be their first points of the season, and if Will can grab the win, that would be good for me, I suppose, in a way, but maybe not so good. I mean, obviously I'd like to have won, but it means that Tim isn't winning, so I suppose for my championship hopes, I suppose it's alright. But yeah, so I'm up to 3rd place. James still leads, but it's got Will right up behind him now, so I've got to make sure that I go defensive here. And you can see I'm defending from Will's dad, and at the moment I'm just like, go defensive, and I could bring home a 3rd place, and I don't think I had the pace to try and catch them up, and there was a big enough gap already, so I thought that was going to be tough. So maybe the best thing here is to just defend. But we're about, well, nearly halfway through this race now, so I was just pretty much still just defend. James was a bit like, where is Will? And Tim, you can see in the top right, not really got anyone to battle with at the moment. You can just see at the top of Tim's screen that Will's dad and I are quite close, and I'm sort of, in a way, trying to go defensive, try and slow Wills down a little bit, and then hopefully get Tim in to try and hopefully let Tim overtake Will's dad. That's what I was hoping here, but it didn't really go to plan because Tim was so far back. Well, not so far back, you know, Tim was a little bit further back than I really thought he was. So I was looking every time he got to the top hairpin, and everything sort of closes up a bit at the top hairpin, so it looked like Tim was a bit closer than he actually was. I think the gap's about 3 or 4 seconds. Oh, as Will's dad goes down the inside of me here, moves up to 3rd place, and I go down to 4th place here, and I go right on the attack once again. Look at that extra speed. I don't know how. I'm just too slow. Need to lose some weight. So anyway, final turn again. His dad gets quite sideways, and I get a little bit annoyed there because he sort of changed his line a little bit there. So it sort of meant that I went to the inside, then he sort of cut across me there. But you can see now James coming to lap Harry's dad here, trying to go around the outside here. And is there a place for him to go down the inside? No, there isn't. James now wondering what's happening here. Looks like one of the marshals was pointing at James there. But James trying to find a way past Harry's dad here. But is he going to be able to go down the inside here? No, because there's not a gap here. Is he going to be able to look down the straight? He should have the straight line advantage over Harry's dad here up to the top hairpin. But going up to the top hairpin, where's Will? Will's down the inside. He's got the move done on James. Will is up into the lead of this race now. And James, as I was saying earlier on, he should really maybe he should have been defending all the time here, because you know Will's right up behind him here, and Will being quite opportunistic there and getting the move done. So now Will's into the lead once again, but gets slightly stuck up behind there Harry's dad, who got a bit sideways. Now they're looking down the inside here. Is James going to put his cart down the inside? Yes, he is. He's got past him as well. Now a straight line battle here. Harry's dad seems quite fast in a straight line actually, but into the braking zone there. James goes past Will as well and up into the lead the race once again. So a good move there from James, getting past Harry's dad and also Will to go up into the lead the race once again. Not too sure if Will was sort of just giving him space, because it did look like James was going quite fast into the turn, but he got it braked and slowed down quite quickly. So good for James there, and who knows whether that will be the winning race or the winning move of the race. But Will should be right behind him still once again. So you'd assume maybe into the braking zone. Will looking down the inside. No, not this time. But Will's right there, so we're going to have to look out for that in the next couple of laps. But now Will's dad and I are catching up to Harry's dad, who obviously is a lap down now, and we're going to be catching him before the end of this race. Now we've got about 4 or so minutes of this race to go, so I was like, this is probably the best opportunity for me to overtake, is if I can somehow get past when we're going to overtake Harry's dad here. Harry's dad, I don't know, he seemed very good at defending. I mean, it took it took James and Will a little bit of time to get past him, so I was sort of hoping that he could maybe help me overtake Will's dad here, but you never know. Anyway, now quite close to Will's dad once again here. This could be a good place to overtake here, because we're not too far behind Harry's dad here, and we could maybe go down the inside this last turn and we get a good enough run here. We go quite fast through this final turn, but just once again we don't carry enough speed through there to get past him. You can see Tim, he hasn't really lost any time to us, but well, maybe a little bit actually. Since we've been battling away, I think we've pulled out maybe a 1 or 2 seconds over Tim. Tim, as I said earlier on, he said he didn't have a good car. He wasn't driving particularly well, he said himself. So yeah, maybe not the greatest of days for Tim, but at least he'll get some good points nonetheless for the championship. Obviously with my dad not taking part of this round, he could actually take 2nd place in the championship. Will's dad leaves a gap there, but I can't quite get through once again. Every single time I try and go for a move, I just can't get enough of an overlap to be able to go down the inside here. But I'm right up in the slipstream now. I've had a good run through that first turn there, but into the braking zone once again. We gained a bit of time to run a bit. We run wide on the exit, or the entrance I should say, to try and get extra speed on the exit. But now we're right up behind Harry's dad here. Will's dad makes a slight mistake there. He goes a little bit wide, but it doesn't really matter too much. But this is like perfect opportunity. I go down the inside here, but Will's dad cuts across here, and he's sort of trying to squeeze me off here. But I'm like, I'm not taking that. I'm just pushed my way back down the inside here now into a straight line. Down this back straight here, I get squeezed right up against the exit of the curbing, and I was like, I'm not taking that, because I get like pushed off so many times by certain people in this championship. I'm like, I can't just keep taking that. So I put the cart down the inside, I got the position back. There was obviously a bit of contact, and Will's dad got sideways. I think he half spun, but at the end of the day, you can't just keep pushing people up against the curbs and stuff. It's just not right. So I thought, make sure my move was bold, and I guess it was. I was getting pushed up against the grass anyway, and he braked extremely late, and so did I. I was into that sort of situation. I was like, I'm going to brake later than he is. I did, and then he sort of turns into the corner right in front of me and didn't leave me any room. So yeah, there we are. That's that, and I'm into third place. So that's that's probably the biggest drama in the race. But as I said, it is what it is. But now the drama maybe will continue, as obviously Harry's dad got back past Will's dad there with the spin, and Tim's brought himself into the action once again. Now he's right up behind Will's dad, who's trying to get past Harry's dad. He's trying to get back past him like a lapped cart, but he's got down the inside there. He's got past Harry's dad and lapped him now. And now Tim has got a bit of a task on his hand here to possibly get past Harry's dad here and lap him. But it's looking quite unlikely now that he can catch up to Will's dad at the end of this race here. But that isn't the final lap, is it? I don't think so. Here we're going up to the start-finish line. No, this is the final lap now. So at this point, I was like, just drive a last lap here. It's just sensible enough to just bring it home to the finish here, and then I can bring home third place, which I thought would be about right, because my pace was third fastest, but once you go defensive all the time, it means that obviously you go slower when you're going defensive. So yeah, hopefully that made sense. James has already won the race. I'm going to come across the line there to finish in third place. Now Tim's going up to the start-finish line there. He's right up behind Harry's dad there, but he can't quite get past him to lap him in the end there. But good race there, and a good first win there for James. He had great pace in that race. He won that race over Will in second place. I finished in third. Will's dad was fourth place, then Tim in fifth, and Harry finished in sixth place, and in seventh place was Harry's dad. So yeah, good race there for James, bringing home the victory after starting second place on the grid. And next up we've got a reverse grid here, and there was some slight confusion in this race, because Will's dad didn't actually go into the pits after that first race. He went round for like another lap and then he went across the line, then got pushed back across the line, and that counted as 2 extra laps. So we had to go around for an extra couple of laps to get everything sort of lined up in the timing and everything. So then when we came around to go to the grid, I was out of position because Will's dad wasn't there, and it all got a bit confusing, so I had to push my cart back into the right place, and it was a bit weird, but oh well. There we are, that's that. And let's get ready for the second race of round number 5 here. The lights are out and away we go here. I get a decent start here. Tim doesn't get the best of starts in the world from third place on the grid. I try and go down the inside here. I'm a bit across the grass here. Tim's probably wondering what on earth he's doing. I go down into turn 1. Get past Tim here. Put full lock on so we don't spin Tim out or anything. Look at that. Harry's dad get pushed right up against the curb there by Will's dad. So very aggressive there from Will's dad in the first couple of turns, but he's got himself into the lead the race here, and I've got myself into second place here. Harry's dad's right up behind me in third place as well, with Tim in fourth place. Tim goes down the inside of Harry's dad there and gets his way up into third place now. Tim going side by side with Harry's dad. You can see from James's point of view here. Now James trying to look to the inside here, but backs off because Harry's dad going very aggressive to the inside here. He's looking down the inside of Tim. Tim trying to go down the outside of me, and there's contact. Harry's dad slightly hits into Tim there. Tim gets pushed back around in the right direction there. Will get sort of bottled up, and so does Harry and James behind him there. So an action-packed first lap and a half there as James makes his way through there and gets his way into 5th place, I think that is now. Or was it 6th place? I'm not even too sure now, but I'm trying to get past, or as Will goes past who's that? Tim. Will goes past Tim there. I was trying to get past Will's dad there, but didn't quite move in the right direction. Everything for me, I didn't quite get the move I wanted to do there. And look, Tim goes down the inside of Will there, but can't quite get the move done. And now James is on the attack of Tim here. And as all of this going on, I'm still trying to catch down Will's dad in the lead of this race. But now Will's behind Harry's dad, which we know is very good at keeping karts behind him. But Will gets a good run through that final turn as Harry's dad got a bit sideways. And as James has just got so much speed through that final turn there, he gets past him with ease. And now up to the top hairpin. Now is James going to look down the inside here of Harry's dad? Yes, he is. He's braked extremely late. I've watched that like 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, how on earth did he do that? That was extremely late on the brakes there, carrying so much speed through it, but he somehow did it. So great stuff there from James to carry that much speed through the corner and manage to do it. But I get pushed up against the curb once again. You saw at the bottom there, but I do get past Will's dad finally here, and now I'm going to try and go defensive here. Basically just go down the grass and nearly onto the grass there, and then just sort of coast it through the turn to try and keep my position here. So I thought, oh, as James gets past the Will there as well, so James on a good amount of speed here. Maybe Will thought James has got a good amount of speed here, so maybe I can follow him through up to the first two of us here. At this point I was sort of slowing up Will's dad a little bit here because I was going defensive, and once you go defensive you're easily losing 1.5 seconds or so over your normal racing time, because you're going very defensive up to this top turn, which means that you're turning in sort of tighter, which means you're carrying less speed through the turn, and then you're compromised through all of this part down here. So it all adds up, you know, maybe 1 or 2 seconds through the whole lap, as Tim's still stuck up behind Harry's dad here. But all this defending that I'm doing is really helping James and Willa, who are catching up to the back of me here, and you'll see in a second here that James is pretty much right up behind us once again. Really quick times here. This could have been some of James's fastest laps of the race here, as I go defensive once again down this straight. And it's sort of it's not technically a straight, so you sort of go to the outside, but if you just go straight down the sort of bendy straight, if that makes any sense, it's not exactly a straight. But if you pretty much go straight down it, you go from the outside to the inside of the track, so you don't really need to go defensive, and you don't need to sort of damage your run. So that's what I was pretty much doing, but all of that has helped James right up behind me and Will's dad here. So you can see Will's dad trying to go to the inside here, but I'm going quite defensive here. James trying to go around the outside of all of us here. I nearly go side by side with Will's dad there, but I managed to keep the position there. There's a bit of contact there. Will's dad tries to maybe hit me, maybe get me a little bit sideways there, but didn't work out, and I'm still in the lead of this race here. I'm like, just keep going like this, Alex, and I still could have a good result here. I mean, I just didn't know how I was going to defend from Will or James at this point, but I knew I could defend from Will's dad here because I was faster through the rest of the lap. So I just needed to get a bit of a gap, and I should have been able to get moved done here. But look at this, up to the top hairpin. Will's dad just like doesn't brake, slams me off the road there, and I dropped down to second place here. Maybe a bit of revenge from that first race accident. You know, what comes around goes around, I suppose. So it all worked out like that. So at least I kept it going in the right direction that time. I kept it in a straight line and managed to get around the corner still. James had to back out a little bit here as Will's dad gets a no bumping sign. Tim trying incredibly hard here to get past Harry's dad here, but he can't work it out, and Harry's right up behind Tim at this point as well, so it's really tough for Tim at this point. He's trying to attack and defend as I am really at the same point at the same time. So going to the sort of bottom half of the track here, I get a good run through here as Will's dad gets sideways, and I thought, good run through here, yes. Don't quite get enough of an overlap to go down the inside here, but look at this run from James here. If we looked at qualifying, he was backing off through these turns, but through the race he was incredibly fast through there. And even before we get to the end of the straight here, he managed to go down the inside here, but Will's dad gets sideways. James spins into the tyres. Will managed to get past all of us, and I squeezed through and keep second place somehow. So at the end of the day I was like, okay then. That's the weirdest turn of events ever. James just got past me, and then Will's dad spun in front of all of us. James jammed on the brake to try and avoid it, but actually ended up spinning into the barriers. Will went around the outside of all of us. Will actually told me after the race he was trying to go around the outside of me anyway, but it all worked out for him. He was in like right place at the right time there, and well, it was a good move from him around the outside of 3 people, going from 4th to 1st in one turn there as Harry tries to go past Tim there. Tim gets sideways and trying to avoid it there, but a move from Harry maybe cost Harry a good chance in this race of getting a good result. But now Harry is going to have James actually quite close behind him here, obviously, because Harry spun. Now James, after his spin, is going to be getting right up behind him, and I'm not that far away from Will, so if Will makes a mistake, I might be able to pounce and get that position back that I lost, obviously, from having to go through the 2 spun karts. So now up to the top corner here, is James going to look to the inside of Harry here? No, because Harry, as we know, is good at defensive driving. I think that's Harry's dad actually half spun there and had to drive across the grass there to get back onto the track, but luckily he didn't get like stuck up on the curves or whatever, and he managed to get back onto the track now. So Tim has got a bit of a gap now in, is that 4th place I think Tim's currently in, and James is right up behind Harry and Harry's dad to get into 5th place if he can get past both of them here. He's looking to the inside of Harry here. Harry's not leaving a huge amount of room, but he left enough room for James to go down the inside, and James managed to get past Harry's dad as well. What a move there from James to go past Harry and his dad up into 5th place. Now can he catch up to Tim? That would be a big ask, but it could be possible depending on how fast James can actually go in this race. And as we see on my screen here, I'm just losing a bit of time to Will each and every lap. I'm losing like 2 or 3 tenths of a second each lap, and it's, I don't know, I just don't have the pace in this race to really keep up with them. And looking at the fastest times in qualifying, it was definitely James and Will who were at least half a second ahead of all of us here. And then I was in 3rd place, obviously, on the grid. I was the 3rd fastest person throughout the whole time as well. And then I think Will's dad was probably the 4th fastest person, with Tim as the 5th fastest. And then Harry and his dad were extremely close in qualifying, actually. I don't know whether I mentioned it, but Harry and his dad actually got identical times in qualifying. So the way that was decided was that that Harry had the lower number. He was number 6 and his dad was number 7, I think. So Harry was quite lucky in that respect. He had the lower number, but in qualifying they had exactly the same time in qualifying, which I don't think I've ever seen happen before. I've seen it be very close, but never that close. So yeah. Anyway, James with some incredible laps here. He's closing the gap down to Tim by, you could say, 8 tenths to a second a lap. So very, very good stuff here from James, but is it going to be enough? I mean, we're getting to the end of this race here. I'm guessing 3 or 4 laps to go in this race, so if James can do it, that'll be a really good end to James's race here, and a really good fight back after the spin earlier on, obviously trying to avoid Will's dab. But I've got to say, guys, it's really good to see the championship maybe get a bit more back on track, because obviously in the first 3 rounds we had, I think it was 4 in the first round, 2 in the second round, 3 in the third round. The amount of people that came, I'm trying to say here, but yeah, last round, obviously round number 4, we had 7 people, and this one we had 7 people as well. So it's nice to get it back on track. At times last year we were getting at least 5 to 6 people pretty much every round. So then at the start of the season and the end of last season, it was like not too many people coming, and obviously that wasn't as fun. So it's good to see more people coming, and I really do like that. Obviously more people to race against is much more fun than having 1 or 2 people to race against. But James gets past Tim there, so close to the end of this race here, and I think this could be here the last lap of the race here, and Tim will be kicking himself after maybe watching this back and realising if he'd gone a bit more defensive there, he could have kept their 4th place here, which obviously after being a bit just sort of in the middle of middle of like nowhere really in the first place, he might be a bit frustrated there, but at least he had a bit of a battle on his hand there at the end there with James. And as we go up to the start finish line here, what is the position going to be? Well, it's Will in first place, and then second place is going to be me, in third place I think will still be Will's dad. But there we are, there is the end of another round of the Go-Kart Championship here. That'll be like, what was it? We're 12 rounds last year, 3 rounds of the Winter Championship, 20th round, I guess, of the Go-Kart Championship. Crazy stuff. I didn't realise we actually been on that, been doing this championship, or the last championships, for so long, but I suppose it's good to see nonetheless. Anyway, let's have a look at the results. Race 2, Will won. I was in second place. Will's dad finished third place. Then it was James, Tim, Harry's dad, and then Harry, and then Harry's dad. And then looking at the standings, I'm still leading on 132 points. My dad's still in second place after not taking part on 83, but Tim's quite close there on 79. Harry's on 51 points, Tom's on 34, Will is on 32, James on 23, Job on 22, Harry's dad on 21, so that's quite close there from James to Harry's dad. And I suppose Will's dad's quite close as well, P10 with 18 points. So yeah, that's it, guys. Once again, thank you for watching this championship. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and tune in for the next round in about a month's time. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. See you next time. It's been Alex Mardy. Goodbye.